Pay attention to Elaina and her podcast. Never leak it and show it. Gotta pull your own weight if you reap it, you sow it. Yeah, gotta plant it and grow it. Drop that artificial food, come and eat with a poet.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Elaina The Poet, and I'm just thanking you for joining me for another episode of Eat with the Poet. Today, we are getting into some real good stuff, and I got an amazing guest here with me today. So we're going to talk about, we're just going to get right into it, but real quick, let me give out my shout outs to Queen's Love Passion for the hair braiding. That's my girl. And one time for the Vixen on the MUR beats, MUA, moi. The MUR. It looks like MUR, but it's actually moi, right? Okay. Anyway, we're just going to jump right into it. So today's show is about the assassination of the Haitian president. An unfortunate tragedy. President Jovenel Moise, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. This man was killed inside his mansion in Haiti, where his wife was also shot and wounded. She lived and he did not. Why did this happen? And how did this happen? I did some reading on the incident, and they are saying that it was organized. They are saying it was a whole setup, right? What they're saying is that several men were dressed in SWAT gear, and they posed as drug agents and U.S. drug agents, as a matter of fact, and were allowed into the mansion. That resulted in the president's death. So currently, they actually have 26 men in custody, and 5 are still unaccounted for. So this is really something that I kind of want to talk about. I wanted to talk to specifically people of Haitian descent, because I don't really have any close Haitian friends, but I have my people that I know specifically. Today, my guest I want to talk to is very special to me, because he is my brother in rhyme. Y'all know this Eat with a Poet, so we got to have a poet on here. And I do love him so very much. He hails all the way down from the city of Dade County in Miami, Florida. We got so many amazing people out of the city of Miami, Florida, doing amazing things, and especially in the poetry world. Y'all know how I feel about my poetry. So anyway, he's here, and he is a king. He's a known king. So we love him so much. I'm so glad that he's here with us today. He is a poet. He is a host, and so many other things. I'm going to let him tell y'all exactly what he does. But he's going to join us today at the table when we eat. So you guys stay tuned and stay right there. We'll be right back. Eat with the Poet. You guys, do not forget to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe and like and follow me. I need your comments. I need you to give me your testimonies. I need to talk to you. I want to connect with you. We are staying together on this journey. You understand? And we are big. Listen, we are back, and we are at the table with my guest of the hour. Yeah. All right. So many people, he has many names. Yeah. He has many things he goes by. I want to say his name because I know it. It rings here. You understand? Y'all need to understand who is sitting at this table with me right now. We're going to get into some stuff, but we got to talk to this guest today. He is of Haitian descent. He is a poet. He is a host. He is a wine maker. He be crushing grapes, y'all. Let me not. I'm going to let him tell you who he is. My special guest today. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here. What is your name?
Good evening.
Good afternoon, morning.
Good people. My name is Will Serious.
Yes.
As she mentioned, hail from Miami-Dade County. I bring greetings as a Haitian descent, first and foremost. As she mentioned, so I'm a poet. I'm a father. I'm a son. Yeah. I am an uncle. I dib and dab into the wine industry. Mm-hmm. I have a mentoring program and most recently, I've adopted my own hookah company. So
yes. And what is the name of that hookah company?
So Serious Smoke 305 is the name of the hookah company. Serious Youth Mentoring Program is the mentoring company's name. We do mentor boys between the ages of 8 and 18, just to teach them tangible skills, valuable skills.
Right.
I know for myself, growing up in a single parent household, some of my dilemmas was, some of the things that my mom couldn't teach me, and she did a wonderful job. Let's not get that twisted. My mother did a wonderful job, but obviously, things such as changing a tire, getting up under that hood, going outside, mowing the lawn. Those were things those were things that subconsciously I was afraid of. You know?
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wonder if that's something a lot of growing guys struggle with.
They do. So in doing the mentoring program, these young boys, young men open up and they mention that. They say, man, I, secretly want to say I don't know how to do this, but, egos get in the way of a lot of young individuals.
And you know what? On the other side of that, too, there's ego, but then there's insecurity.
Absolutely.
And just being ashamed and not knowing how to communicate or say, or to be able to be confident in how you really feel without feeling like someone's going to judge you. And it's interesting that you said that, because I actually used to do a poetry workshop for teenagers at the Broward Youth Treatment Center in Pembroke Pines. And we're talking 14 years to 16 or 17, because that's like the second chance program. So they don't go to jail and they don't necessarily go to juvenile. They're like in between in this home. But it was such a beautiful experience. So when you tell me what these boys say, I can understand completely how it makes you feel.
Absolutely. 100%.
And the desire to want to help more and do more, be more effective in that way.
You'll be surprised how those same insecurities filter into your personal life, such as relationships.
Oh my God.
Love relationships.
Tap on it.
For a long time, women I've dated, I personally was like, I hope they don't get a flat tire. As a teen, because I'm just like, I don't know how to change it. But riding in that car, I fake the phone. I make them feel just as secure as me. But deep down inside, I honestly had some insecurities of my own. So, and these boys share those. And so that's what we do. We try to just teach them that, listen, we as a village, we can make this happen. Right. You know what I mean? So kudos to those.
And kudos to you for planting seeds, because that's what it's about, and that's my thing. I'm always pushing purpose. I'm always pushing purpose. I'm always, even for me initially when I started off with the poetry, I was boxed in with the Christian or the gospel poet. And I owned that. I had to do the very thing we're talking about when you talk about the fear, because we as people, we deal with those insecurities. I had to be like, you know what? This is what God gave me.
Absolutely. 100%.
I'm not going to concern myself with what the person next to me is doing. I'm not going to think about what they just said on the mic before I get up there, and they was talking about licking and hugging and touching and wetting up stuff. I ain't going to worry about that. Know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this here, here, what he gave me, because this is what I have.
You have to.
And then he blessed me with that. And so that's an energy that we constantly want to put in the children. You know, we want them to be confident with what? Their God-given abilities.
Absolutely.
And this art thing that we do, and we'll get into the other things, because I want to know actually what made you get into the smoke business.
Man, so
I want to know that.
Listen, truth be told, we all know that 2020 wasn't the best of years for all of us.
Right.
And it kind of like forced us to tap into things that I wouldn't say not necessarily didn't think that we had the ability to do, but to kind of like tap into the things that subconsciously we never really thought of. And I've always been a hookah smoker. Always been an avid hookah smoker. But for me, sitting home during the pandemic, it allowed us to really sit down and really process things, right? Because we were so
For those of us who were taking that route.
Yeah, man, we were so on the go that sometimes these ideas, they kind of like they're like pass-throughs. Mm-hmm. So sitting down, writing, getting back to writing, jotting things down, and that was just something that I was like, you know what? I didn't just want to be the same as any other hooping companies. Mm-hmm. So there's a bit of a little twist to what we do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We do birthday parties, we do large events, small events, but primarily, if you had to compare us to any other company, you know how you have your top shelf liquor,
okay,
and then you have your generic liquors. We would be considered. Man, it's good.
You would be considered top shelf.
I'm that Hennessy of the group.
Oh, really?
I'm that privilege.
Okay.
So our hoop is a very
You are who
premium,
you say you are.
Yeah, our hoop
Believes
is a very,
that.
our hoop is a very premium type of brand. So yeah.
And
just
where can they find it?
Smoke.
You have a website?
No, I don't have a website, but you can follow us on Instagram.
So we'll get that.
At Serious Smoke 305. And that's spelled SERIUS, Smoke 305.
So, that's also how your name is spelled.
Yeah.
As a poet. You also do t-shirts. You have like a Will Series t-shirt brand. So let me just tell you guys real quick. We like to call people like the poet Will Series. Get it right. It's not serious. Although he'll say the boy's so serious. The boy's so serious, right? If you've ever been to a Will Series show, that's his thing. And the crowd says it. So either way, the way he spells it is different than the word serious. So if you follow him on Instagram, him the poet, then you'll see how it's spelled, and so that's the same way you spell the. What about the wine? How do they find the wine?
So the wine, you can purchase the wine at English Brown Winery. Shout out to all the good folks at English Brown Winery. And as far as the name is concerned,
put it on the counter for me so I can take it home.
As far as the name is concerned, there's actually a story behind that. So the reason why I spelled my name the way I did,
talk to me,
is because of the same reason why we're here, my Haitian lineage. So I wanted it to be more of a French type of vibe. So I took away the O and added the apostrophe, because as a culture, we're so our culture is a union more or less. So when you think of Siri, then you put the us behind it. So that's why it's spelled Siri, then us, as in the people. So that's why I spelled it the way it is. So I can have that distinction of me and us together. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I labeled it the way it is.
And then and you know we're creatives, so you know sometimes we'll do little stuff. And that was also something, because one of my early on shows talked about how when the pandemic came in 2020, it was the creatives of the world that kept things moving.
Absolutely.
I was watching The View the other day, and I heard them discussing different things. And you know, when stuff happens in the culture or just in America, I feel like there's always a finger being pointed as to who did what, who could have did something better, why this person did this, that, and the other. Rarely are we self-evaluating, just in any form. But long story short, the young lady tells us that during the pandemic, yes, thank you.
Man, this Thanksgiving
this how I treat you. This how I treat you.
Thank you, Elaina. Appreciate you.
No.
This is everything right here.
So, I need some blue cheese, babe. That's summer, y'all. One time for the chef in the back, we live at Gigi's Music Cafe in Sunrise, where they always get me right. When I come here, it's always so much love, and you know my table always stacked. So for sure, one time for the chef. Thank you, Boogie, that too. You want blue cheese?
No, okay.
Oh. Yeah, so we each with a poet, you feel me?
Yeah, this is all right.
He say this is all right. I do, boo-boo. Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, the third one. Thank you. She's so sweet. That's summer, y'all. Every time I got to shout my boo out, because They don't look out for me nowhere the way they do here at GG's, you know. They always show me love. But you are very familiar with the Browns and how amazing of people they are. Shout out to Miss Gigi Brown, the winery, and all
the whole crew.
Yeah, Simone. Oh, my boo-boo. That's my boo-boo, like kiss on the cheek, real close to the mouth. Boo-boo. And then I love them so much. So thank you so much for the love that we get. But back to you. Did I tell y'all we like to call people like this brother right here octopus? Octopus meaning that he has so many moving parts to what he does, but then it all goes back to one body, so it makes sense.
Right.
And it's all tied into the creative part of who you are. But like I was saying with the pandemic, I was telling you about the View thing. The lady was, I forgot her name. It's John McCain's daughter.
Okay.
She was saying how over 100,000 people died during the pandemic due to depression. Sitting in the house just being depressed.
Right.
Because they didn't know what to do with their minds.
Right.
They didn't know what to do physically with their bodies, and they were home feeling trapped. So a lot of them overdosed on opioids. And doctors were overprescribing. So we think about COVID, but COVID was not the only killer in 2020. Depression took a lot of people out. Opioids took a lot of people out due to having to stay home. So, and that was also another reason why I wanted to create this show, because I want to be able to, even if you stumble across it, you know what I'm saying? There's got to be something that will feed you or feed your spirit or feed your soul, whether it be the guest I had that said something. Real quick, too, let me just interject. This brother's an amazing poet. Okay? I don't know how the spirit going to make him feel today. You know what I'm saying? But if the spirit hit him, he might go ahead and say a couple of lines for us, because that's what we do.
Right.
You know?
Right. You already know. I got you. Right?
Yeah.
I'm definitely make that happen.
Yes. Thank you. So that's that blessing. But yeah, so that was another thing. So, and I bet you didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
You know what I'm saying? But I bet you can imagine it to be true, because
for sure. 100%.
You know, if we didn't have this thing that we have, we'd probably go crazy.
Right. You know, I told you, during that time, I was able to get back to writing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so therapeutic to put some of those thoughts down on paper and actually visualize it and to strategically plan, opposed to just always being on the go and figuring it out as you go.
Right.
But yeah, this has definitely been a liberating experience. Mm-hmm. I think we've learned a lot too, not just about ourselves, but
if we're learning though.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Oh my God. Y'all we ain't pigs, y'all. I order this stuff, and most times we be taking this stuff home for dinner. So just don't worry about it and don't judge. You feel me?
Keep watching. Just keep watching.
You know, so look, he want a fork, he want a napkin.
I'm all over.
Let me put out. No, you here?
A little bit of something.
That's how we do it. You know, our table you can't reach, so I got you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you know, digs in. That's what we do on Eat with a Poet. They love it here. They be like, man, because you know, I was trying to figure out. This is the one thing that we all love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? More than we love to talk, we love to eat.
Right. You know what this reminds me of?
What?
Good old, like, fellowship. Like, we don't fellowship like that anymore. Mm-hmm. Unless it's Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. You know, this reminds me of just going over to auntie house.
You know what I'm saying?
And then everybody just end up at the table.
All right.
Before you know it, the cards come out. We start playing spades.
Yeah.
So this definitely give me that type of vibe right there.
Good. That's that love feeling. Because, you know, that's that feeling we like. You know, everything mostly to me in life is about those feelings. And people talk about emotions. We ain't talk about emotions. We talking about those soul feelings like happiness and joy. Those things that, you know, that come from inside. And that's what food does and fellowship does. It just bonds you, and it shows how love works. Now that's just my bag of opinions. Oh, y'all know I ain't pulled my bag of opinions out in a long time. Normally I'm pulling out the bag, ain't it, Belle? That bag where that bag? We pulling it out today. But I really want to get more on a serious note. We did do some small talk and stuff like that, but we got food and everything in front of us. I really want to talk to you about the Haitian people. I want to talk to you and see, first how you're feeling. What is the status? Because I don't really know what's going on right now. I don't know if you're keeping up with it. But we're going to dig into that a little bit more in a few minutes when we come right back after this break. Even the poet. You guys, do not forget to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe and like and follow me. I need your comments. I need you to give me your testimonies. I need to talk to you. I want to connect with you. We are staying together on this journey. You understand? And we are back. Y'all know I'm happy. I was super hungry when I got started. And I came here and ordered a whole bunch of stuff. And that's ridiculous. But it's delicious. Did that rhyme?
Yeah, it did.
That's ridiculous, but it's delicious. Thank you, Pooh.
It makes sense in my ears.
You know what I'm saying? Just in case, friend, because you got relish and stuff. You heard. Look,
man,
shout out to
the way this is seasoned.
It's
meat.
Right.
Ain't no sauce.
You know what I'm saying? And that's that lemon pepper.
Yeah.
You know, Rick Ross be on that lemon. He be out that lemon pepper light. But yeah, so this is good. I've been thinking lately. I'm gonna go into something, but every now and then I'll be thinking. And I have been thinking about some different things. When it came to artistry and different things that I could do. When it came to taking my artistry to the next level and stuff like that. How do you feel about collaborations? Music and different things like that, because I know that you have some collaborations and different things coming up that you're doing, or partnering with some musicians and stuff. But what's your take on those things?
I think collaboration is healthy, primarily because you're able to exude a different type of energy. When you're up there by yourself and you performing, you kind of like giving your audience all of you.
Right.
Now, when you add a different element to that, it's almost like a remix version. Now, think about all the great remix songs that was just as good as the original songs. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So people get excited. I get excited when I collaborate with anyone, because for those that have seen me perform on the poetry circuit, bringing a surprise splash, or just I'm gonna use you as an example. Imagine if I was doing a set and you came singing from the back of the room. Now everybody's in like this, like, oh man.
Correct. Right? You see it coming.
And not only does it have an effect on the audience, it has a personal connection. It adds a personal connection with the artists. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Because we go back, my favorite thing to say, we self-evaluate. We start to say, man, how did you feel? Yeah. Now I'm more concerned about, what you thought. Yeah. And vice versa. Right. And that's a whole nother level of energy.
And it's funny you say that, because you always care about the person that you're collaborating with and how they feel about what you're giving to the performance.
100%.
Yeah, that totally matters. And then sometimes when we get to a certain level, and I like to call it God confidence, then we imagine that with what we're coming with, we're making our collaboration step their game up equally. So it just makes for what they consider to be an experience.
Right. I've had people ask me to write things for them, artists, and then I'll write it, and I'll project how I want it to be verbalized, right? And then immediately they're like, I'm just gonna add you to the track. Yeah. And this was supposed to be something that they did on their own,
because nobody can relay your intention behind something the way you can, even if they read it. That's why I've never really been a big fan of reading other people's poetry. I know that respect to poetry in all of its forms reading poetry is beautiful, but I'd rather read my own.
Right.
I know that to educate ourselves and to become great poets, we have to read other poets' poetry just for ourselves.
Right.
But I mean to like stand in front of people and be like, okay, I'm going to read something from the great Maya Angelou, and then I have the book in it. I never, you know what I'm saying, was able to do that, but I respect it and I love it because I think it makes us and most people familiar with poetry they've never heard before. So when you're reading that stuff, it's just like, okay. But yeah, so that's why I want to talk to you about collaborations, because I know too also this month, is it this month or next month, you and Keenan, the saxophone player, are doing something together, right?
Yeah, we're doing and this is all Keenan. This is all him.
All Keenan.
This is something.
Shout out to Keenan, the saxophone player. You know, you my boy. I love you. You know, I'm shouting you out.
Dope artist. You know, he created this thing called Sax After Dark.
Right.
If anybody's familiar with like the Lauryn Hill Unplugged, where it was an intimate setting, and it was more like her singing some of her songs from the Zion album, and then also stopping and giving them a story behind, you know, the songs. That's what this is going to be for Keenan. So,
really?
Yeah, so I am going to be the one interviewing him while he plays, and we go break down, you know, so people can get more in depth as to who Keenan is.
Who he is.
A lot of people know him as the sax guy, but I don't think a lot of people know Keenan from a personal standpoint, you know. And Keenan has an amazing story. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that, providing that experience. He does also have me doing poetry. He also reached out to me to provide the unlimited hookah. So Serious Smoke 305 is an official vendor there. And also, my wine will be on selection, all you can drink.
Y'all heard that? Y'all best to follow this brother right here, cause
so the wines will be there, the bottles, so it's all you can drink. So get your all-inclusive ticket.
And that's gonna be, what date is that?
August 14th.
So if you're here in South Florida, just keep in mind that there is an event from Keenan, The Experience, which you can follow him on Instagram. They're having an event, him and Will. Will's gonna have wine, so you get to try his wine collection there. He'll have that, and then also the Serious Smoke. So if you're a hookah smoker, then you know, right. So you can imagine what the vibe is going to be in the building. So that's going to be a dope event for that audience. If you're into that, really, you should check it out. I think they got the tickets on Eventbrite, right?
Yeah, you can go to it's at Sax After Dark. All spelled the right way, Sax After Dark on Eventbrite. So yeah. Get your all-inclusive ticket. And,
not sex, not S-E-X.
No, sax.
It's S-A-X, y'all.
Yeah. And
like a saxophone.
And also, it's not so much of a surprise, but we will have soul tree dances, pole dances there. It's really going to be something sexy. It's a black and white theme with a splash of red, so you can wear either or.
Also, black, white, and red is the attire.
It's the attire. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's what's up, y'all. That sounds like it's gonna be some real grown-up stuff. So you should definitely check that out. I had to throw that in there real quick because you know I be loving on the people and stuff like that. Other than that, I am gonna get ready to get into a little bit more of a serious topic that I kind of wanted to talk to you about. But real quick, let me just ask you, before I ask you anything else, I just want to know, what were you doing when you heard that the Haitian president was assassinated?
What was I doing? So, this happened, of course, in the wee hours of the night. So, that next morning, I just remember getting, like, text messages. My mom, specifically. And she was just asking me if I had heard as to what happened. And as the day went on, you know, social media, most of that started to spill over. So I was shocked. I was shocked because, you know, just considering his status as a president, you don't think that intruders can get that close, right? When you think about our history of assassination, of course, we think back to Kennedy, and that was a you know, an outdoor situation. You know what I mean? But these killers came to his home, right? You know, to his front door, right? And took him out
and through it,
and took him out. But man, I as far as how I'm feeling, I'm all over the place. because on one spectrum, this is a human being.
Right.
Regardless
Correct.
of race, creed, nationality, this is a human being.
Absolutely.
That was sleeping in his home, and his life was taken.
That's it.
Whatever the motive was, I feel horrible in that regard. On another level, I'm angry. I'm angry for the simple fact that these stories and these assumptions and how they're being projected, and there's so much hearsay. There's so much speculations. Whether it was an inside job, was there some other affiliates, outside of Port-au-Prince? There were 4 people arrested as of recently, I think 2 days ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Who had South Florida connections.
Yeah, I had read that initially,
right.
that they were some people, a doctor
right
here in Florida, and there was
doctor here. There's another.
So they arrested the doctor.
They arrested the doctor. They arrested another gentleman. He owns a security company here in South Florida, and what he does is he fixes guns, and he makes them clean. So dirty guns, he makes them clean. He clean. So he owns a security company. And
wow.
He has innocent until proven guilty, but he was arrested for having some connections to that. So you start to think about these different organizations, and where it stemmed from, and it's just a lot. It's a lot,
and it's a lot too to know that it wasn't just some random person off the streets who was, had some mental issues. This was organized.
This is organized
and
this
planned.
Calculated,
yes,
and everything like that. So,
and then what happens is when something like this happens, and you do that, and you don't even think about the people, like how it will affect the people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know. Have you heard any stories about how the people are in Haiti right now? Like, how?
Yeah. So they're even up until his funeral, riots. There was a lot of there were different areas where violence ensued. But the people there, that's one thing, man. It sounds crazy to have a president assassinated, but the people of Haiti have gone through so much things, and just in recent history with the earthquakes,
I know,
with the hurricanes,
it's nonstop.
It's nonstop. So I say that to say that they are accustomed to having hard times and trying times. Doesn't make it so. Our normal is not their normal. Their normal is violence and depression and these events happening that puts their country in a whole different situation. So that's their normal. So,
and then your mom is like an old school Haitian, right?
She old school. My mom is so old school where she made her mind up years ago that she wasn't going back to Haiti. She made her mind up years ago, and that she loves where she's from. Of course, we rep it all day, every day.
Of course.
But when you have a family and you raising kids, my mom knew a long time ago that's not where she wanted to raise children. So it's just one of those things where you feel for the country, you feel for the people, you feel for those that are of Haitian descent.
Do you go back and have you gone back to visit?
Last time I've been to Haiti, I was 13 years old.
Oh, that's a while ago.
I was 13. That's when my grandfather passed away.
Okay.
He was the last of any one of my mom's family members that she was close to. Everyone has migrated in different places.
Okay.
We got family in New York. We got family in Pompano, Fort Pierce, Miami.
Oh, Fort Pierce. I was born in Fort Pierce.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was born in Fort Pierce when it was nothing but dirt roads.
Really?
Dirt roads and trees. My grandfather had land and acres of land up there, so he built homes.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
But yeah.
Yeah, so that was the last time. But either or, this situation, I think, is going to continue to unfold. Every day we go find something new about this case. And just credit to his queen.
I know. They say she back out like a soldier.
She is strong. She is not playing the radio.
She was here in Miami, and they say the next thing you know, she was back in Haiti.
She was back with a sling on and standing tall.
Listen, he was a poet right now. we are finishing up our part 1 of what happened to the Haitian people. And we're sitting with my special guest, who is Elaina The Poet. And so what we want to do is we want to have you guys come back to make sure you check us out for part 2 of this episode, Eat with the Poet.
Peace to all the queens. What's up out there? We live. Tapping in. I need everybody to tap in. Cool people. Everybody to tap in. Eat with a poet. Subscribe. Never leak it or show it. Gotta pull your own weight. If you reap it, you sow it. Come eat with a poet. Gotta plant it and grow it. Drop that artificial food. Come and eat with a poet. Kicking words with the poets, I get lyrical. Physical is great, my journey now is spiritual. Peace to the queens in the nation and foreign. I would like to introduce you to Elaina The Poet. Stayed down in the jungle like some bare feet. Now when we toast, ace of spade, no more bare feet. Poking beans, Dade County, yeah, I'm still hood. Spread love, feed the homeless cause it feels good. Now pay attention, this is knowledge of wealth. Throw the school books away, this is knowledge of self. Quiet is kept, listen, this the Revolution broadcast. Now pay attention to Elaina and her podcast. Never leak it and show it. Gotta pull your own weight. If you reap it, you sow it. Yeah, gotta plant it and grow it. Drop that artificial food. Come and eat with a poet. Come eat with a poet. Shout out to Elaina The Poet. Cool people. See, I need everybody to tap in, subscribe, spread love. You know what I'm talking about? Black power. Black power. Black queens. Black kings. All Shout kings. Out to all the kings. All queens. Forward move.